Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. I'm Lyndon.
I'm
Amy.
And I'm Devi.
And this is Coach's Corner. We help people change their relationship with food and fitness using all the knowledge we've gained over our time helping people do just that. So, if you like this video, like it, share it. Don't forget to tell other people about it and hit the notification button and subscribe. That way you get stuff exactly when it comes out so we can keep bringing you as we do. Today we're actually talking about we've been talking a lot about like the importance of functional training. We've been talking about the ability to create resets, and now we're going to talk about what it's like once you've reset to go from burnout to balance. That's what we're looking for. So what training for life actually looks like, or what functional training is for. So I'm gonna move this mic. It is pissing me off.
Yeah.
It's too close to my
Brings it where
face.
it's at.
No, See? Look at that.
You just gotta put the.
First and foremost, I'm just gonna grown man my shit and put it there. All right, and let's go over it, right? So here's an important or a buzzword I hear all the time, right? Like I used to hear this before I had a space. I would work in like your commercial gyms, and people would be like, "Oh yeah, I overtrained the other day," and I'd be like, "Okay, why do you think you're overtrained?" And then they would tell me I was really sore, and I'm like, "That's not overtrained." All right. I'd be like, after a while, you just stop trying to correct people on it. But I think we should cover what overtraining actually is. Okay? So before we get into any of the how to get back from feeling burnt out to creating new balance for yourself, I think we should cover what overtraining is. All right? So we got Google, people. Let's look it up. Let's make sure we're right.
Googles.
Right? Because most people don't overtrain, they're under recovered.
Yeah.
That's actually the problem, right? All right, go ahead.
Overtraining is a condition that occurs when an individual trains too hard or too frequently without sufficient rest and recovery, leading to decline in performance, fatigue, and other negative effects.
So, most people look at the definition of undertraining, and the first thing they think is, well, I'm not doing, let's say they did a specific movement at a certain weight, and then they come in next week and they're like, I can't do it. They're like, yeah, I'm definitely falling short. There's too many factors for the average person to actually say that definition is what you should be looking for. So I would actually say, especially if you think you train hard, if you think you train hard, then one of the best things I've seen for like saying if someone overtrains is you have flu-like symptoms, right? You actually feel sick. If you feel sick when you're training, then you get a real feel for actually not being at your best, right? And I mean like being overtraining wise. So again, you push your body really, really hard, so much so that you gave yourself a fever. Raise your hand if you've done that in training ever. Nobody else? No?
I don't think so.
No? Fair. It's not a thing. When did you do it?
In cross country.
In cross country?
Yeah.
Running outside, long distances.
Just every day. I was doing extra on top of our training.
Yeah, which is a easy way to overtrain. But again, overtraining didn't happen because I went to training 3 times a week. It happened because I was doing every single day,
Twice
and my recovery didn't actually help me recover enough until I fell into such a space where my body got sick. Okay, so that is what overtraining is for like actuality. All right, we're not talking about, again, you hurt, your muscles ache. That's something different. Let's look up under recovery. Let's try that one. All right. So, stop saying you overtrain. That's not true for most people. All right. And believe me, I train bodybuilders, and they'd be like, yeah, I did this. And I'd be like, all right, cool. And they'd be like, yeah, I don't think I could do that again. I was like, that makes sense. And they were like, yeah, I think I'm overtrained. I'm like, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, just because you can't do the same thing again the next day or a day after doesn't mean you're overtrained. It just means that space is sore and you're having trouble using it the exact same way at the exact same performance.
Okay. Under recovery, it's the opposite of overtraining, a state of insufficient rest and recovery from physical exertion, stress, or other demands on the body.
You said that too fast. Say it again.
It's the opposite of overtraining, a state of insufficient rest and recovery from physical exertion, stress, or other demands on the body.
Okay. Can we see why this might be confusing for the average person? Did they sound extremely similar?
Yes.
Yes. So most people are going to look at the definitions and go, well, I'm definitely overtrained because that actually, like, I went too hard is what most people want to. It's a almost like a victory thing, right? And again, I don't think most people need to ever train in a place where they overtrain. I think it's actually not how you do things. However, if you are horribly sore, right? We have made a staple in here. What's two things we tell all clients who say they're super sore and can't come in the next day?
Come in anyway.
And that's
drink
funny.
water.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair.
Stretch,
Yeah.
protein.
Yeah. Those four things.
Those things.
That's
Keep your
that
head
is
up.
pretty much it, to be completely honest. Right? So we'll give them all four in case you missed it. Stretch. Come in anyway. Eat more protein. Drink and get more hydrated. Those are usually the culprits for most people. If I had to add something, we do something in here called habits, like habit tracking, for our first people when they start. Like, I'm giving you what you need on a very bare minimum, let's call it scale, so that way you get it. And I'll give them very quickly, just in case you're watching this. Check these things to see if your journey's working. 1, drink anywhere between 80 plus fluid ounces of water, which usually is, let's say, 124 at minimum. All right. I always tell people go for a gallon, but again, studies show you can do half and still be okay. I don't like to put people at the bare minimum, especially if you're pushing yourself in here. So 80 is what I normally recommend, 80 to 100. All right. Number 2, get enough sleep. All right. A lot of people miss how important sleep can actually be for having a successful journey. How much sleep is enough sleep, guys?
Is enough?
Yeah.
6.
Sufficient.
Well, I mean, I think you're shooting for more like 8, but
All right. What's the bare minimum window?
I think it's 6 to 8.
Science shows that if you get 6 hours of sleep on a regular basis, 7 days a week, usually actually about closer to 5, then you actually should be increasing your performance. So you got to try to get 6. And then if you get it, I don't know anyone who gets 8, but I would say if you can get 8, then you're doing a really great job on getting enough sleep. So we just covered water, sleep. Nutrition is tricky, all right, especially if you're first starting your journey. So I don't want to give that. That's like a hard milestone. So I would actually say no unplanned or cheat meals. Things you know aren't good for you, just don't have them, right? If you're trying to do this right, then, and again, you're worried about, like, you're all sore, all these other things. I was just talking to a client today. I was talking about, they were asking me about like their carbs, and I look and I see like nachi or I think it's called nochi or nachi, whatever. I don't know that
Gnocchi.
word.
No.
Yeah, it's a gross feeling in your throat.
It's they're eating that, and ironically, it's from a meal prep place. So they were really like, that's good, that should be fine, right? And I'm like, well, that could be okay, but look at everything else, right? And again, it's not just one meal. Like most people look at that, it's the entire day leading to not having those and eating a more balanced diet is how you become healthier every single day. All right. So the next thing I would worry about is, again, we got hydration, we got nutrition, we got sleep. Those 3 are huge. Okay. If you're trying to improve overall, those are the 3 building blocks that I always tell people. But obviously training is something we already cover. We usually tell people to train 3 times a week at minimum. If you want to see your body change, then you have to come in and train hard enough in 3 times a week in order for your body to change. Okay, and I mean, you really got to go after it. Don't come in and do the exact same thing, the exact same way, the exact same number of repetitions and expect to be different, right? So again, sleep, nutrition, hydration. Those are the 3 things that I'm always telling people to really work on when it comes to creating a happier, healthier life. So let's make sure, again, if you think you're overtraining, you're probably under-recovered, right? And I would just say that in general. So all or nothing mindsets, what do we think about when we see people and you hear the words all or nothing? What do you think about when it comes to mindsets? Nothing?
It's not great.
Not great?
Imbalance, yeah.
Sure. How often
Not
do we see it?
realistic.
Not realistic. Why not? Why is it not realistic?
Gosh, well, as a person who generally functions in extremes, I would say it doesn't work. I think it is difficult. Has to be intentional to find that balance in the middle, but nothing at either end of extremity is going to be really sustainable or productive.
Oh, I thought there was more. Wasn't there? That was it. That was it. Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
think of
Wanted to leave
I think
room.
of inconsistency when I hear all or nothing. I say if you are like going all in, most of the time it's not sustainable. So eventually you're gonna fall off of that. And if we're all about consistency here, we're all about habit stacking. I think that's just a surefire way to fall off your journey at some point. At some point, something's got to give. Huh?
Doesn't make space for life.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who can go 100% more than like a day or two. I don't know anyone who could do it 7 days in a row. I don't know that person. I'm sure there are people out there who can, but they've worked on that for years. They have the mental fortitude that the average person doesn't even want. It's funny, I think I was talking about it this morning. I said the people that come to mind are people like David Goggins, right? Broken legs, gets on a stage, talks to 1 million people, and then does 20 push-ups like it's easy with 2 broken legs that were broken 10 days ago, right? I think it was best said by Joe Rogan about guys like David Goggins. He said people like Goggins up the bar on what it is to be human, right? So that's not average. That's the exception. So if you think that you're doing 100% of the work, I would take deep stock of yourself, just like we were talking about in the last one, and really see if you are giving 100%. I guarantee you most of people are not. I know I'm not, and I would say that I'm doing a pretty good job maintaining balance in all of the things in my life, but I'm not giving 100%. It's like 70 or 60, just consistently 70 or 60. And sometimes it's 100 and maybe it's 100 in the gym, and it's like, 40 or 30 and everything else, right? And then sometimes my family needs me, so it's 80 or 90 at home, and then I don't have it to give the community. I don't think as a person, if you're just trying to give 100%, you can do that healthily in any arena without losing somewhere else. Okay, so that's how I would normally look at it. All or nothing sets you up for failure because there is no balance, and everyone requires it. All right. So sharing stories of people who found sustainable, joyful movement. I have so many stories. I've been doing this a long time. What about you guys? What you got?
Else or ourselves?
Yourselves? Oh man.
Is it us? Is it a
You
client?
can use whoever you want. I don't care. Just looked across.
I think
Yeah.
for me, sustainable, joyful movement has always been dance.
Sure.
Like that feels like a space where there's lots of where I can like access joy
Sure.
or even create it if I'm like down.
Sure.
And before I came in here to train, I remember I was coming to a bunch of classes and I was like, yo, I've never come here ever and felt worse. That's never happened. I never was like, wow, I feel terrible. Usually I come in if I'm low and maybe questioning whether I wanted to be here.
Sure.
I would always feel better. And that
Good.
was like, oh, I know I should just go because
Yep.
moving my body feels better than like slumping.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think any movement can be good, 100%. Anybody else? I got anything?
I'm gonna say there's a lot of people that come to mind. I think that's how the human body works, likes to move sustainably. I think there is joy in that. I say you. I'd say you. I'd say me. I'd say my my mom comes to mind. Anyone who's a practitioner of movement, and like I think the modality changes throughout life. You know, like as you get older, you may have to not, you know, do the extreme sport you were doing, and now you're doing something else that's maybe a little less hard on your body, but it is still movement. You know, you're still finding joy moving your body. I think stagnation to the human body feels like death. So,
Fair.
I don't know anyone who's joyful and not moving.
Who you got?
Fair. I think two things come to mind. One is about, in general, community. I think just as we've started to train people, or I've started to train people, a lot of people come in sleepy. It's cool to see it on the other side because I know I come in sleepy. But it is very, I don't know, rewarding, cool, interesting to see people come in maybe low, maybe tired, not sure if they want to be, like, it's just that showing up, right? That you get yourself there. And then by the end, seeing a lot of people's whole mood change. Like they're smiling, they're talking more, they're laughing. Maybe it woke them up, or maybe it was just the movement bringing joy. So I think that's been really cool to see. And I don't know, I've always been a person who just like any movement feels good, but yeah, hiking, being in nature, definitely. If I feel low, that's always been kind of my go-to, and coming here certainly, yeah, never come here and been like, man, I wish I didn't do that. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think overall, ironically, I don't think that movement brings joy, right? I don't. I never have. I don't think I ever will. But I can say movement creates, like moving my body unstucks my mind. Does that make sense? I never was like, all right, now that I'm moving, the endorphins just made me super happy. I was like, nah, like what's the process? You get what I'm saying? Like, let's say I had a real bad night, all right? Well, it doesn't matter why, I had a bad night. I'm stuck replaying the bad night in my head. So if I come in and things are moving and like someone speaks to me, like being here and that person talking to me shifts my focus, which allows for me to get out of the mindset. It's not really the workout itself or the movement itself doesn't always, like, it doesn't bring me joy, but it does open the door to where I get to look for joy, I think, which is how I've always kind of viewed it. I've always viewed it as, if I feel stuck, moving my body unsticks my mind, right? So I don't know. I look at it as a process versus like a A and B. It's more like a start to finish for me. And so when most people are like A, B, I'm like A to Z, but how'd I get there through all the things? That's how I look at it. So I won't say that movement isn't medicine. I actually say that a lot. I think movement is medicine for sure, but medicine doesn't make me healthy. Medicine just cures what ails me. So I like to think as movement as medicine, and again, helping you become unstuck. Whoa, client, jeez, so many. Someone who currently is inspiring. I think of my clients who came in and were like broken, right? I don't think of people who are like able-bodied. I think of people who they had kind of given up on being able to live happy, healthy lives, and now when you see them, they're completely different people. Those are the people who I think of. So Ivy, Mom, Margie, Miss Vicky, Matt, Brown to an extent. Most people would never think that was Brown, but that was Brown when he first came in. I think of people who just really, life had taken from them so much they felt defeated. And then coming here changed that. I'm sure that's more than just the people I've shared story, but these are people who's physically I've seen go from like Margie used to wear a knee brace every time I saw her, and now she doesn't wear a knee brace at all. Miss Vicky had back pain so severe that she literally her spine started to curve. Ivy's hip was so bad that she had to use a cane to walk around. She couldn't even walk around normally. She needed her weight supported by an additional support. And she was, in her own words, a couple steps from having to have one of those old people walkers. That's how she talked about it. So giving people back a lease on life is the type of stuff that I wanted to do. I think of those people when I think of change and movement forward. Yes? Yeah. Okay. Woo, rest is a strategy. Jesus. All right. I've got great advice on this, but I can't follow it. Okay. So if you don't know, I have kids. I have very, very young children. So rest as a strategy, the traditional way, doesn't work for me. Just kids are going to do what they're going to do, no matter how much structure you create. Their personalities, who they want to be, whatever happens to them during the day is going to determine how things go. So even though it says get 6 hours of sleep, it's like uninterrupted, get 3 to 4 hours of REM, because that's when you know you'll be at your best, right? I probably wake up every 45 minutes, right? And it has to do with having a small person just do that, which doesn't help me sleep well. So while you should get uninterrupted sleep, you should really focus on getting as much rest as you can. Now, does rest have to be sleep? Would be the question. No, it does not. It does not have to be sleep. So technically, rest is just taking time to alleviate self, whether it be, it's like usually physically and mentally. I personally think mental activities for fun or play can be considered restful things. Also, again, if you have some type of spiritual practice, something that you center yourself on, some people like to read, they consider that their spiritual practice. Some people like to do yoga, they consider that their spiritual practice. Really, if you just do something pursuing you being a better person for the sake of being a better person, that usually can be considered somewhat of a spiritual practice. I'm big on those things. So anybody who knows me, I'll be talking to everybody, 10 minutes will pass and I'll be like on a corner just watching something stupid. Just because it helps my brain to reset just enough for me to be more present. Yes? But also, again, I study a lot. I think I study a lot because not only am I curious about life, but also I want to be a better person. What do you guys do for rest? What? Jeez.
We have to
Jeez.
Who wants to go first?
I will. I don't think I did that yet. Just send it down. I definitely, like I talked about last time, I read for rest. I think though, like just laying down on my back and breathing feels really nice to me. It could just be short. It could be a long time. I think I was saying to a client a couple weeks ago, I think it's back to that extreme idea. Like we think it has to be like I have 2 hours that I'm gonna do this thing to rest, and life just doesn't work that way. And what I've learned over time is like even if you have 5 minutes or even 2 minutes or 30 seconds, you can incorporate that rest. And I think breathing is one of those things. Reading a couple pages, taking a short walk. I think all that's not like a strenuous, like a nice little stroll or something. I think a lot of that feels like rest. Sometimes cooking feels like rest to me, just because I don't do it constantly all the time, but it feels like an artistic restful.
Even if you did it all the time, I think it could still be considered that. Why?
Well, I think it can feel stressful if there's like a time constraint or it's a lot, and to me that feels relaxing.
Sounds like you're just fucking that up. That's what that sounds like to me. Like if you're trying to enjoy an activity and then you're just like doing it, doesn't that sound like a large mistake?
I'm saying it's like cooking because I gotta versus cooking because this is like enjoyable.
What's the difference?
It's enjoyable, or you just doing it because you got it.
What does that mean there? Like, what is that?
The difference is your mindset.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's like what's happening around that.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're stressed out every day, then probably all the shit you do is going to feel stressful.
Exactly. It's not
That's true.
cooking. Yes.
I guess it's being okay. So I guess
when I
mindful.
cook, when I'm stressed out, or when I'm trying to meet a deadline or something, that makes sense.
I guess,
But And again, that's a real easy way to think about it, guys. If you're trying to do something, don't do it when you feel terrible unless you have literally no other choice. And again, even in that space, take some time to reset. I don't know enough people who take time to really be just intentional about their entire day. I don't know enough people who do that. I got some, but I'm talking about every part of their day has intent to it. And like, it's so funny because people will not invite me to stuff because they're like, you're so busy. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, what is you want to do? Right? And then they tell me, and I'm like, all right. And they're like, you're super busy. How are you going to make that work? But people who are already busy, who already do that stuff,
Yeah.
it's never, I know you're busy. It's always like, I want to make time to see you. So can we?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, sure. And then we talk about it and we make it work every time. Right? I'm just like, all right, well, that tells me a lot about your mindset, right? So yeah, I would agree. Rest.
I think stretching, yoga practice, something like that is great. That always feels restful, mostly because I'm under recovered a lot. So lately, that's definitely where I've been toast a little bit. So I'm trying to incorporate more of that in yoga and meditation, because what I've found, I've seen in my life is when I'm making space for that, I have so much more space, right?
Yeah.
I'm less likely to be stress cooking. Like, I gotta get this fucking burrito made. Gotta get 30 grams of protein in it. You know, it's like, yeah, where it's
Chopping
like,
it.
it just like boils over into everything.
Why is this so
Flying everywhere.
Just throwing ingredients at a pot.
Oh, God.
So I think those are the biggest ones for me because it is part of recovery,
Yeah.
and it's gonna feel restful, right? Even laying, meditating, breathing, tuning in,
Yeah.
always makes me like just baseline is brought down.
Yep.
If otherwise my baseline is up here, like, oh, it's gonna take like one thing, and the whole shit's gonna explode.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
We were talking about, because that's really how I think has to be done, right? Like, too often people are looking for that big thing, and that big thing is so unobtainable. And that big unobtainable thing is why you can't find rest, right? Like, you're like, I don't feel like I'm stressed because I'm stressed all the time. And then you do one thing, you're like, go do something, and you're like, oh my God, I could just pass out, right? And it's because your body's tense all the time. So ironically, dropping your baseline level of stress can look like a mindful activity, right? And that's maybe it's cooking. I will just do work and sing. Like, I'm just like, and I'm just singing whatever. And me doing that, paying attention to music and melodies actually helps for me to not stay stuck in whatever place I was in before that. So stuff like that. I think it's really about choosing mindful activity. Making things mindful, right, is a way to create rest for a person. So 100%. And again, I explained it this way the other day. I said, let's say 100% is you are stressed out and nothing goes well, right? You're yelling at everybody, or let's say you're disgruntled, you don't know what to say. Like, let's say on a scale of 0 to 100, 80 is, I am not fun to be around, right? So if your day takes you from 50 to 80, then you need to find a way to drop your baseline. That's exactly what
Start
we're
at
talking
80.
about.
I'm like, I'm at 107.
You're like, why is no one talking to me? I hate everybody at the same time, right? Like, you're just yelling all the time. You want to do that? I love that activity. And they're just like, what are you doing, right? Because people don't know what we don't see in ourselves. Does that make sense? If you don't see that your level of stress is fucked, then no one else is going to be able to tell. I'm thinking about yesterday, we went running late, and like, Em likes to talk.
I didn't, though.
Em likes to talk. So I'm just like,
right? And we're listening to the guided run stuff. So I'm just like, and I'll say one thing, right? I'll be like, where are your thoughts? And then I'll just keep going, because I'm focused on what we're doing. And M's like, what do you want to? Yeah, where are my thoughts? My thoughts are in my head, but also they're coming out of my mouth. Is your mouth moving? It's not. Let's talk about what that is. And I'm just like,
Whoa.
my level of stress. But it's because of how we are as people, right? Like M is a verbal processor. I think most of us are. But the way M connects and comes down is different than the way I connect and come down. So you have to figure out what that is so you can exist in space. I've literally had to explain it as parallel play. I was like, I like doing something with a person, but I'd like them to say nothing to me, right? Like don't talk to me, barely make eye contact. I want to look over and be like, okay, all right. And then we just keep doing what we're doing because that feels good. And then there are times like most of us used to do this stuff in high school. You either did it over the phone or in person, or you're like, what's the universe about? And you just start having those dumb conversations that lead to like you feeling very connected to a person. I think most of us are still living in high school time when it comes to that type of connection. Our way to connect with others hasn't grown up, right? So for me, I have friends and purpose and things that I'm thinking about. So like doing this mindful activity that I actually don't want to do at all is really about me connecting my purpose with the thing that I'm doing, which allows me to do it at a higher level. So my body is not the driving force, my mind is, right? So talking too much just makes me frustrated because I'm trying to connect the two things, right? I don't know if most people feel that way, but I know for me, I had to mature the way that I love people. And my maturing the way that I love people looks like I don't need to say how much I love you. I can just show you how much I love you, right? And there will come times where I listen to you and your love languages, and then I use your love language to love you because that's mature love. Not what I want to give you, but what it actually is, right? If we do that, then we will watch the people around us grow and flourish, right? So it's a tricky thing, but if you do it, you also become a better human being, right? Like you as an individual, think about it. I have to think about you, give to you. Like I can sit here and go over, Devin was here when we were in the room and it was like, there was a different team and they were just all like, yeah, how could anyone know everything, things about us in order to give to us like this? And I was like, boom, 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 boom. Was I right? Everyone was like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, you just have to pay attention. Most people are so absorbed in self that you can't see what's directly in front of you. Everyone's always sharing who they are. They may be hiding spaces and parts, but if you listen, you'll hear it. Great example was last podcast when Devin said a thing. I was like, I didn't know that. Like I didn't pay attention to that's what you were doing, and it led me to not understand where you were coming from and to be irritated by it. Does that make sense? But once I hear where it's coming from, then I'm like, okay, it's still not something I like, but now I'm not irritated by it because I understand your heart. And that's different. That's why I always say, again, dropping your baseline or coming to a place of agreement on why we're here can help that happen. Connecting should never be about going all in on a person. It should be going all in as a person. Does that make sense? If you do that, I feel like you reset and then you can reconnect. Yes? So, sorry, I don't want to leave you out. Yeah.
What?
What's the question?
Yeah. How do you? What do you do for rest?
Restful.
What do I do for rest?
Yeah. An example of a restful activity.
Bunch of stuff. I like to just breathe. I'm a big proponent of breathing.
You know what's funny? I was going to talk about how you dance on corners
Well, let
for
me
like
get there.
years. All right. You're getting there?
I'm breathing.
Yeah, I like to just breathe. I think
Breathe
before
into my
I even think about going out and dancing, I sit there and I breathe. If I don't feel like going outside, it's really about the space. Like the dancing thing is really about environment more than anything.
I thought it was about creating your own space.
Yeah, well, it is. It doesn't need to be a specific space, but it is about finding that space.
Yeah, creating one.
Yeah.
That sounds like creating. I mean,
however it goes.
yeah,
But
it's cool. Say it. If you don't agree, you should say you don't agree. It's okay.
I mean, I feel like it is creating a space, but it's also like knowing that space is already created somewhere and just going to find it, you know? Like my mind goes, all right, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna let this space come to me. So I'm playing music, I'm like, that's not the song, this isn't the space. At some point, the song lines up with the space I'm in, and that's where I start dancing.
Okay.
I'll say I also like to revisit. I used to do this a lot more, but I don't do it anymore. I used to revisit movies that I've watched before, like I know line for line. That brings me back down, reset. Like Incredibles, Matilda, my favorites. I do that with video games now. So I'll go back to a video game that I like know front to back. I know this isn't gonna, like, I'm gonna beat this game. You know, this isn't a challenge. This isn't a new thing. I've already beat it. I know it front to back. Dancing is a big one for me. I think that's when my stress level is like the highest. When you see me get the most quiet, if I need to shake out of that and actually get myself talking again, I go out and dance. Like some of the hardest moments, just 2 years ago, Christmas. Was it Christmas? No, it wasn't Christmas. It was.
It was definitely a holiday. Talking about with your son?
Yeah, was it Christmas?
It was. I think it was Christmas.
It was Christmas. Yeah, I called
so.
you up. He sent me like 3 songs. He was like, yo, go outside and dance, and that was like exactly what I needed. I was like, oh. Sometimes it used to be more so songs that people sent me, you know, that I'd go out and I'd be like, all right, now I just need to find the space that matches this song, and it doesn't take very long. And I'd need to only dance for like 1-2 songs, and then I'm like, okay.
What's funny to me is hearing you talk about it. It still sounds like created space to me.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, like for instance, someone sharing how they view a thing helps expand your perspective, which lets you love in a different space. And that loving in a different space then becomes what you expand. I like to think of it like, for all the nerds, domain expansion.
Domain expansion.
Right? Like you already have whatever it is inside of you, and you've done the work to create whatever the thing is, but to express it outwardly is to do something a little bit differently, right? And to do something a little bit differently, like for instance, this space is just an expansion of what I've given as far as care. Right? So when people come in here like, this is so thoughtful, it's like, yeah, I thought about this, right? Like I set this up, I took the time, right? It's not some undone thing. And most people want to be loved. So when we do things that actually look like love to others, it does expand our world. Right, and that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're finding what love looks like for someone else, and then as you move around, you're like trying to ride the wave because you already have a feel of it's out there somewhere. Love is out there, but how do I connect what I think love is with what someone just talked about love is with a space where love exists, and then those three go together, which is creating. That's creation, right? To take 3 things and make it into one is creation. Right. So for me, it's similar shit. Like I would definitely, like the songs I sent you. I can sit at a window and just listen to music and be like, yeah, this is fine. And I'll just be like, this.
Yeah, I just imagine.
Yeah, it was that. Yeah, like I think about I was in here with bringing this up. I was in here teaching step. Had on the yellow and black shorts, black tank top. The only reason I remember this is because it's important. And LJ was like hands on step. There's a literal photo of this, right? I'm just yelling into the mic. He's got his hand on the step. And I remember I was going particularly hard this day. And I wasn't going hard because I'm trying to, like, in the moment, the only people there were me and LJ, right? Like I'm talking to LJ. LJ's like, yeah, Dad, you're killing it. And I'm just like, yeah, let's keep going, son. Like this is what it's about, right? Like this is you connecting with you. Show people who you are, right? It's not whatever calls I'm doing on a step night. This is me showing my son that he can create space for himself. what made this particular for me, and I retired the shorts after this, right? So I actually put them in a space and put them together with something for it. My friend's son had died in a motorcycle accident 2 days before that. So I was dealing with being grateful that my son was there, right? Like knowing that I get a chance to show him where to go. And I was just, and he just came right up to me. Like it was, he usually moves around, kind of pays attention to his dad, but doesn't pay attention to his dad at this age. And he's just like very curious about the world. So this moment was very connective. I went home and I held him in the window in our dining room and just cried. And I cried because I know for a fact that my friend's son will never get that opportunity ever again. He was like 20, 22, he's the older kid. But that, his ability to hold his son was gone. So I was just in just super, what's the word I'm looking for? I was just grateful as fuck to be able to hold my son the way I could in that moment, right? And it's funny, not LJ. I was holding LJ, Ashley and Lauren came in and they just embraced me. And they didn't even know what was going on. I was dealing with a lot at the time, just trying to, because I knew this young man. I watched this young man go to prom and all this other stuff. So for me, it was hard to know that his life was taken and he was a good kid. It wasn't like he was out doing something stupid. It just really was a freak accident. And they had this big procession and I remember going to it, and it's so funny being, I'm gonna say being a man of strength. You're so strong, right? You're so strong, you do what you gotta do. And then this moment came where we saw each other and like, it was just, he acknowledged me, I acknowledged him. And I was like, I had LJ and I was just like, I'm so sorry, man. He was like, it's all good, it's no big deal. He was like, we just gotta get through it. Love the family. He said, I'm gonna miss him, but, and I'm just looking at him being strong. And the funny thing is, LJ did the exact same thing for him. Broke down. And it was one of those moments, like you get to realize that so many people carry so much weight, right? And they're not describing it, they're not talking about it, they're actually pretending to be okay. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, watching this moment was for me like the reason why I've healed so much since LJ has been born is because of the fact that LJ's innocence reminds me of a time of something I've lost. And I think he does that for a lot of people. I think kids do that for a lot of people, but specifically I'm talking about my son. So sometimes taking the stock to rest actually allows you to see yourself for real. Climbing out of the hole, in my opinion, looks like really taking the time to look at how you feel about things for real. A great example of that, if you're trying to find a way to do it for yourself, we have a thing in-house called the Wellness Wheel. You should ask for one if you're interested in okay, where do I really feel things are, right? And if you're already a client here, you know what we use that wheel to say, okay, if you're at a 10 on this side and a 2 on this side, are you willing to give up 5 on your 10 to increase your 2 to a 7? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to give up some things so you have more somewhere else, right? And I think that's the most important part when it comes to really finding balance for yourself. Yes. So all of that leads back to being happier, being healthier, and if I spend my time lamenting over the things that my son has reminded me of, because I knew, but I forgot, right? And if I spent time just lamenting over the things, then I would never be able to build a space that gives him the opportunity to do his own thing, right? So for me, that's what it's about. It's about passing it on, helping as many people as possible. This is a question that Em was bothering me with yesterday. She said, what's your why, right?
That was part of the...
Oh yeah, it was part of the thing.
Part of the prompt, and you asked me my answer.
I was like, what's your why? And then she gave it, and I was like, cool. And then she was like, what's your why? I was like, nah, I don't want to give my why. It's deep, right? But the truth is, again, I think a lot of people only take surface looks, right? It's like the thing right in front of you that you're pursuing really hard and then you're done. For me, it is much deeper than that. For me, it is the expansion of the lesson. I feel like God put me here to teach the lesson of consistency. That's it. Everything else is part of that, right? So for me, giving the level of lesson of consistency looks like showing up when no one else does, doing things that no one else does, taking care of myself when I've been told it's not possible. How many times have I been told I might not walk again? At least 3 since I've opened this space because of a blood clot right in my groin, right? I still show up. Clearly, I walk just fine. So it's not one of those things. It's one of those. I think I show people what it's possible on levels to be human, truly. So I love that shit. It's just what I do. So the level is the reason that my why is consistency. All right. What you guys got? Done? Anything you want to add? No? Okay. Thank you so much for watching today. Go ahead. If you'd like to join our community, you can reach out to us, www.gettingitdaily.com. You can also check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram, under the name Getting It Daily. Until next time, I'm Lyndon.
I'm Em.
Amy.
And Debbie.
We're signing off. Peace.